Hello, people of God. This is my Jacob's Way TV. I'm Dupi Dupi Singer. How have you been? This is episode 137. Episode 137. I ended the last video by referring to the psychology of a person that God has sent on an errand. Um, do you know how Isaac would have felt when he was sent out of the land that God said he should not go leave? But he did not have a choice. He had to leave. But did he turn his back at God? He was wise enough to stay very close by because he knew that God was going to keep his promise one day. Have you ever thought about the psychology of Joseph when his brothers had sold him and the chariot or whatever was carrying him away? He must have been telling himself, no, God is going to stop this movement. Something is going to happen. They are returning me to my father, because there was nothing in his dream that told us that his dream was going to come to pass in Egypt. If we knew it was going to be Egypt, or even if he himself knew, he would not have been sad. He would have been happy that he was going towards the place of the fulfillment of his revelation. Nobody knew. I'm sure he must have been telling himself, no, I trust God. I trust God. I won't need to go far before God will return me back to my people. He did not just get there. He was sold as a slave. Just think about his psychology. There were things that would have made him almost turn his back at God. I am the one in the bull's eye here. You know what my psychology was. I knew people were snickering at me behind me. I knew people were gloating at the fact that I had been sent out of that place. I knew people were saying she told a lie, which God would have asked her to go to that place. But I had gone too far to turn my back at God. And I used to say to God anyway, that even if he did not keep his promises, the fact that he made me walk this journey with him, the journey in which I learned to have fellowship with him, the journey in which uh, he brought me close to himself, that would just have sufficed me. I've come to know the Lord better. And that's one of the reasons why um that's one of the reasons why when God sends you on an errand, he asks you to separate yourself from people, because the commentaries of people, if you are not so grounded, will derail you. People will taunt you. People will tell you, are you sure it was God that spoke to you? People will mislead you. People will misinterpret your revelations. People will do all sorts of things. Can you see why God asked Abraham to leave his kindred? He had to go far away to a place where people did not know him, so at least he can hear God well. And God did not actually start to give him directions until even Lot had to depart from him. So why am I even bothering to tell you this? Because I know that many people have reached a place of discouragement. It's just part of the journey. It's almost like you are traveling on a long distance from Lagos to maybe Abuja, and you got to Lokoja. Your vehicle had a problem that somebody can fix. You now say, no, I won't, because the vehicle has had a problem. I'll go back home to Lagos. I'm no more going to Abuja. Even on the way from Egypt to the promised land, the children of Israel met with giants. And so there are so many kinds of giants that we meet on the way. The just shall walk by faith. You just keep going, believing in the God who has sent you on an errand. So I found another tree. I found a tree. No, not another tree, the first tree this time. At the prayer place, we had a pavilion. I found a tree at the garden that was like facing the House of Assembly of Lagos State. I did not just decide to go there. I asked the Lord. The Lord said, yes, go and camp there, go and stay there. So we started congregating there. We will do our midweek service on Wednesday, and we do our church service there on Sundays. And every day, even when we are not congregating, every day, I would take my chair and my Bible. I would go and sit under that tree. There were other people. It was a public place. There are so many other people using that place. But I carved a corner for myself, and I sat down there every day. There was a time the Lord told me that I should sit directly in front of the House of Assembly, and I should pray. I should keep not pointing my finger there and pray for the legislators, that they should make the right decisions. I'm probably making it public for the first time saying this. I didn't announce it. I didn't have to tell anybody that. Nobody knew, but that was between me and God. I went there every day, and I would sit in front of the House of Assembly. I'll ask God to give them wisdom to make good laws and to take care of the citizens. I also met some other ministers of God there who also came there to pray. In case you do not know, a very fashionable person. I like colors, and the Lord has not told me not to be fashionable. God has not told me not to like colors. In fact, He has told me that He was the one that gave me the ability to love colors and to use colors. As an interior decorator, I was good at mixing colors. To have mentioned it before, that the Lord calls me is rainbow. So I'm not a regular minister of God. Many people like to look sober. So other ministers of God who maybe finally learned that I'm also a minister of God, who saw me, didn't want to mix with me, didn't want to be friends with me, because they felt that I was a little too colorful and too flamboyant to be a minister of God. It didn't bother me. But one day I saw somebody, one of the ministers of God. I looked at his face. He was praying. He was walking around the garden and praying. I looked at his face. His face looked like the one that could make me afraid. His face was strong. That's the way I can describe it. I said, Lord, all these male ministers of God, how am I going to survive in their midst? I looked at the man and carried my face away. But I noticed that he was walking around and praying quietly. If you were not discerning, you probably would not know he was praying. By that week's Wednesday, I found him in our prayer meeting on Wednesday, our midweek service. And I found out later that it was Nicholas Bulabula that invited him to join us. That was how I met Pastor Emeka. When he spoke after the prayer meeting, he was so soft-spoken. The way he spoke was completely different from the way I saw him. I thought he had a very difficult demeanor. I was afraid of him, but he was a genial, amiable person, and he still is. And he listened to me. He started coming to join us on Wednesdays and on Sundays, and that was how God, in His infinite mercy, brought Pastor Emeka to become my assistant on this journey. There were days I didn't know who to leave the church with. A particular year, I had to be in Ibadan for such a long time to take care of my brother who was sick. It was Pastor Emeka that held the church on. The Lord found me an assistant, for which I'm very grateful. Till today, Pastor Emeka is very faithful, very, very faithful. He had obviously been a street guy before, converted by the Lord, and so he's not afraid of the guys. And so once in a while, when I have to be away from church, Pastor Emeka holds the fort. That was one encouragement I got at the beginning of my coming out of the prayer place. This is my Jacob's Way TV. I'm Dupi Dupi Singer. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and ask yourself, what project of the Lord that is in your hand have you abandoned? At that point where you think God has abandoned His project is a place where He's going to give you somebody that will assist you, like He gave Pastor Emeka to me. I always pray for Pastor Emeka that he will not miss heaven, and that his reward for standing by me with all these many years will not be in vain. I don't think I can pay him, but God brought him my way at the most difficult time of this my journey. He will send you your own help. Just keep going. Don't faint and don't be weary. If you want to faint, ask for the help of the Holy Spirit. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.